I remember when Disney was the hot shit. What in the fuck is all that? I remember when Disney was the hot shit back when I was like, I don't know, 6, right? Because it was really the Disney magic, right? It took old European folk tales that, in all actuality, were dark and harrowing, and it, made it for kids. And, Disney really carved out, a bit of, uh, carved out its stake into entertainment, right? The Disney animation went worldwide. Like, hell, you had people of completely different ideologies and nationalities that all enjoyed Disney. Like, it was once probably one of the most inclusive companies on like in IPs of any other type of, well, I mean, there are other like movies and other things, but Disney as a concept, as a mythos, really spread throughout the world, right? But now apparently the theme parks are dealing with not enough people showing up, right? And again, crowd amidst high ticket prices woke Basil DeSantis. Here's why. Yeah, I don't care for the whole business ideology, but the fact that, again, they chose this ideological path to go against, one, the Florida legislature, and two, the consumer. It's like they literally set themselves up to fail because, you know, here's the thing, right? Most of those shows and most Disney things were for kids, right? You had like Disney adults, and I always cringed when I seen like the Disney adults on YouTube because, like, man, imagine living your entire life like that. But I'm like, I play video games. Star Wars used to be the shit, and Disney was fun when I went. But nowadays, it's just you don't get that anymore, right? Because like most of Western entertainment, it chose an ideology. It chose to go against DeSantis. Like, I knew DeSantis had like the golden goose, right? Like every time he fucked with Disney, his numbers would go up in the polls. But every time the Disney would avoid his bullshit, his numbers went down. Like his entire campaign was predicated on fucking with Disney. But I guess with the whole election coming up, you can legitimately say that's what saved Disney. Because he could have just kept fucking with him, and I guess I know the Florida state fucked with them because took away their ability to self-govern. Because yes, Disney could detain you on their property, right? And the point of that was, that the Disney sits down in Florida, so there's a lot of marshland and a lot of this and that, and they would ask the state to clear all that out, but the state's like, you know what, we'll give you the ability to do all this yourself. And again, the point was to delegate that to Disney themselves, right? But they lost all that because they decided, to, again, do this, fight fucking, the elected officials of Disney. And let's read a little bit of this one. Dumb. Again, they're making the business argument. But then again, Disney's not the only company, the only entertainment out there anymore. You have anime, which is just is just a better product. And anime, always existed, even since the 1990s and early 2000s. But you had people that look at it and they would be like, okay, what is this weird shit? You know, I have my Disney, I have Blizzard, you know, I have better entertainment, and this is what is this for children? Right now, we knew there's anime that wasn't for children, right? But American entertainment used to be so good that it outshined anime. But nowadays, anime is doing what American entertainment used to, you know, what Disney used to do in the past, and they're doing literally no different. But because Western entertainment is garbage, you know, they're outshining Western entertainment. Again, Disney comes out with yet another remake, you know, yet another Star Wars throwaway bullshit project. And they race swap characters and they do all that. They take political stances, and people look at this and they're like, okay, well, why would you do this, right? And I know people are like, oh, well, everything's political, and it's like, well, yeah, but it's like, okay, what was the politics of like the older Pinocchio? Well, it was to stay in school, even though you didn't like it, you didn't want to, but you had to do what you had to do, you know, to get a good education. And it's like, okay, is that political? Sure, fucking why not? But everyone, even in other cultures around the planet, could go with that, right? It doesn't matter if you're left wing or right wing, you know, Muslim or Christian. You could relate to that because you were a fucking snot nosed brat ass of a fucking child, and there are times where you hated going to school, but you had parents that made you, right? And it's like, okay, what's the politics of the new Pinocchio? Well, they left it ambiguous on purpose, but it was like effectively transitioning. And it's like, what the fuck is? Oh, well, Pinocchio, he didn't leave school because he didn't leave school on his own volition. They kicked him out, and it's like, okay, well, I guess society kicked him out of school. It's like, okay, the fuck does a kid have to worry about all that bullshit? And it's like, oh, well, in the older Pinocchio, again, he chose not to go to school. He chose to follow the goddamn fox, and that led him down the path. And it's like, and again, you had not only Disney, but cartoons that had good, you know, themes, that whatever, like, call them politics, like Courage the Cowardly Fucking Dog is like, okay, is the only family he had, even though Eustace was an asshole, and Muriel was the only one that actually liked. His family wasn't perfect, but he will literally, you know, go through whatever horrors that came to his front door. Like, he would brave any eldritch abomination that tried to threaten his fucking family. You know, what's Chowder? Well, Chowder, you work hard and, you know, you just put in effort. Like, regardless of where you're at, even if you're just an apprentice, you put in, have a good mindset, put in good effort. It's like, there are good themes, at least in the TV shows and the entertainment that I grew up on when I was a child. But nowadays, people just don't believe kids should have good entertainment. And I hear the defeatist argument that, oh, kids will consume anything. Kids, you don't need to try to entertain kids. And it's like, well, I agree, you're correct, but I'm not asking for the fucking Mozart or Beethoven of fucking entertainment, right? At least give them what I had when I was a child and when I was, you know, a young, right? At least make that, like, not even the benchmark. You can do a little less than that. But nowadays, they want to push divisive politics into kids' shows. And it's like, well, okay, you're alienating people on purpose because politics are just divisive as is, right? Even if you believe your morality and your ideology is ordained by God Himself, you're going to meet someone who just doesn't agree with your worldview. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, there's no point in trying to impose it on one, complete fucking strangers you don't know, and two, well, I mean, there was an unspoken rule that at the dinner table, you don't talk football and you don't talk politics because these things are just divisive, you know, and the point isn't to divide. But now it's like with Disney and with most entertainment, it's like, oh no, we need to divide. Like, dividing is the point because we have daddy issues and we need to impose them. It's just, we just cannot help ourselves but to impose our daddy issues on complete fucking strangers, right? And again, people look at this, and even if they can't articulate why they're not into this, why they don't like this, they just move away. Again, they seek better entertainment. They seek a better fucking product. Like they don't, they're not going to refer to a fucking multi-billion-dollar fucking company that adopts an ideology to protect it from fucking criticism, but by people who use ideology to uplift the fucking selves and to impose their fucking problems on everybody else. It's like, why the fuck would anyone with two brain cells to rub together and form a synapse, why would anyone go for that? And it's like, you know, I guess they'll try giving the business argument, but what in the fuck is all that, whatever. But it's like, comments. Theme parks are no longer interested in me because of the prices are instantly high compared to the value received. And then again, when I don't think price is that big of a deal. I think it's value. Like, if you don't have the value there, like, people aren't going to pay the price. Like, I mean, I think that Disney was cheaper, but again, they increased the price to cover for inflation. But the value hasn't stayed the same as it did in like 2016. In fact, the value has been lowered because Disney as a company, as an IP, has also fallen. Like, what do you gain from a Disney product that you don't gain from anime? Like, you gain the Disney magic, you know, when I was young, right? You gained some pretty, and you also learned some pretty goddamn good lessons that, again, it didn't matter what ideology you were under, you could relate to. Nowadays, they're catering to a small, fringe minority of Americans. So, being American, you're already the minority on the planet Earth. But not even all Americans care or agree with this message. So it's an even smaller margin. And again, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. People aren't going to look to Disney for their fucking morality. And people aren't going to look to complete fucking strangers for their goddamn morality, right? So, and that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm surprised to do anything fun or outrageous. For doing anything fun or outrageous on top of that, theme park prices, you have to pay for. I mean, again, life when I just depends from spent a fortune getting to Disney World, Florida. Yeah, and again, it is. It does cost a lot, but again, if the value was the same as when it was when I grew up, or hell, if it was even better, people are willing to pay for entertainment. People are willing to pay for, even if it's a couple hours of fun with your family. Like, people are willing to pay for that. You know, it's a luxury, and people treat it as such. It's not something you live in. It's something you go to, you know, every I don't know, couple of years. And again, people are willing to do that. Or at least they were, but now people aren't willing to do that. And again, it's the fact, again, Disney's not the only place of entertainment. And most people take their entertainment out to anime, right? Like, I think they're building what was it? I got something in my fucking eye. A Dragon Ball theme park in Saudi Arabia. I do believe people will go across the world to go to that because Dragon Ball is a good IP. As much as I have all my concessions with at least the later Dragon Ball seasons, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were amazing, right? Had absolutely no problem with them. And Toriyama was an absolute legend, right? His products were truly inclusive. Again, if you use the term the definition of inclusive that like your fucking mother uses, right? His product was inclusive because it didn't matter. Again, it didn't matter from China to fucking Saudi Arabia to fucking Brazil to Mexico to America. Like his works went across the world, right? And people enjoyed them. But again, then Disney used to do that too. But nowadays, Disney does not. Like, you know, nowadays, anime is popular. You know, and you could say it's just the shift of entertainment. But again, of all the decisions Disney as a company and Disney with its IPs been doing, like, again, they're catering to a small fringe minority of Americans with daddy issues. And again, no one like I said about Star Wars, people are more willing to watch YouTube channels that shit on Star Wars, right, than actually watch the shows themselves. Like people are more willing to watch people shit on Disney, like YouTubers shit on Disney, than actually watch a Disney fucking product. And again, and this doesn't just happen, right? It doesn't happen in a vacuum. Because Disney used to be good, now they're not. And they put in time, money, and effort to be garbage. And I get yelled at for fucking pointing these things out. From people who, again, they take the ideological position, so they don't partake in any of these products. Like, they do not watch the fucking Star Wars Acolyte, but they'll be the first ones to come at you for shitting on it. It's like, bruh. Now, to be fair, I don't watch it either. Like, I keep wanting to watch it just to revel in the cringe. But I'm watching anime, you know, I'm watching old sci-fi shows. You know, I'm playing The First Descendant, a good game. You know, Nikke Goddess of Victory, a good fucking game. Right? So it's like, you know, I might get around to it, or I might not. Hey, who fucking knows? But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.